All right, Lakers fans, the clock is officially ticking. We are now 10 days away from the trade deadline, and the whole league is feeling that pressure. The deadline is set for February 5th, and since we're posting this on January 27th, that means we have just 10 days left to see whether the Lakers make a move or sit still. The next 10 days are going to answer a lot of questions, and honestly, this is the part of the season where things should start to ramp up. We should see some action, some noise, and hopefully some deals that actually make sense for the team. But right now, the landscape is wild. Nobody has really done anything significant. Sure, there was that one big trade, but outside of that, it's been quiet. And the reason is simple. The asking prices are insane. Every day, it seems like a new player pops up, and teams are demanding first-round picks like they're handing out candy. It's gotten to the point where it feels almost impossible for the Lakers to make a move because the price tags are just too high. The market is inflated, and the Lakers are going to have to navigate that reality if they want to make a deal that actually helps. Now, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but we have to be realistic. The Lakers could end up not making a trade simply because no one is willing to meet them at a reasonable price. And that's not even taking into account what's happening behind the scenes. Pelinka could be quietly working on something right now. He could be cooking in silence, and we might not know until we get an alert that a trade has been made. That's always a possibility, and it's why you can't fully panic just yet. The Lakers have made moves in the past, and they might do it again, but we have to be prepared for the scenario where nothing happens. The big issue is that we need the market to calm down. We need the asking prices to come down to earth, and I think that could start happening within the next week. Once teams realize that the trade deadline is approaching and they aren't going to get the return they want, they may start to become more realistic. It's almost like we need another benchmark trade to happen. Right now, the only major reference point is the Trae Young trade. That deal set a tone, and it created a standard that every other team is using as a comparison. And that's where the problem starts. If you're the Lakers, you look at the Trae Young trade and you think, okay, this is what teams are getting for star players. Trae Young is a legitimate superstar, still in his prime, and yet the price was a first-round pick. So now teams see that, and they start to think, well, my player should at least get 2 first-rounders, or my guy is worth 3 picks. It creates this domino effect of inflated expectations, and the Lakers are stuck in the middle, trying to find a way to make a move without giving up too much. But here's the thing. The Trae Young trade might be an outlier. It might be circumstantial, a one-off deal that doesn't reflect the actual market. Atlanta had to move his contract, Washington capitalized, and it just worked out in that specific situation. We've seen similar deals in the past, like when Rudy Gobert was traded or when Desmond Bane was moved, and those trades created the same kind of chaos. Suddenly, everyone starts asking, if that guy went for a first, what is my player worth? It becomes a snowball effect of unrealistic expectations. Eventually, teams step back and realize that those trades are not the norm. They're outliers, unique situations that won't happen regularly. But the problem is, until that reality sets in, the Lakers are stuck trying to negotiate in a market that is completely inflated. They need another trade to happen, something more reasonable, something that sets a new benchmark. A trade where a player goes for a second-round pick or a couple of second-rounders. Something that tells the market, okay, this is what players like this are actually worth. For example, imagine a player like Josh Giddey or another young wing going for a second-round pick, or even someone like Onyeka Okongwu, who is comparable to a guy like Giannis. If he goes for a second-round pick or 2, that creates a new reference point. Then the Lakers can say, look, Herb Jones is not worth 10 times what that guy is worth. It helps bring the market back to a reasonable level. It gives teams a baseline to negotiate from, and it stops the madness of every player being priced like a superstar. And that's why I almost want to see another trade happen before the Lakers make their move. We need that marker. We need another deal that sets a more realistic standard. Ideally, the Lakers are the ones making that trade, landing a player for a reasonable price. Maybe they get someone like Giannis for a second-round pick, or a young wing like Jonathan Kuminga for a second. Something that makes sense and doesn't require giving up the farm. That would be the kind of move that changes the tone of the market and makes it easier for the Lakers to get a deal done. The good news is that nothing is happening right now. and that's actually not a bad sign. It would be more concerning if trades were flying left and right, and the Lakers were just sitting on their hands. If everyone else was making moves, and the Lakers weren't, we would be asking, what are you doing? That guy went for a second, and you did nothing. But the fact that the market is quiet means that the Lakers aren't missing out on anything yet. It's a small consolation, but it's something. It means there's still time, and the Lakers haven't been left behind in a flurry of deals. However, we have to be careful because the last time we saw this kind of quiet market, it ended with nothing happening. The last time the trade deadline looked like this, teams were asking for crazy prices, nobody was making moves, and it felt like the market was stuck. That was the 2024 season, the DeAnthony Melton season, where the Lakers were active but couldn't get the value they wanted. They wanted 4 first-round picks for a player like DeAnthony Melton, and in the end, he was traded for far less in the offseason because teams realized the market wasn't going to meet those demands. My concern is that we could be heading for a repeat of that scenario. The only year Rob Pelinka has done nothing was that season. Every other year, he has made a move at the deadline. People ask me why I'm so confident the Lakers will do something, and it's because Pelinka has a track record of making moves. But the problem is that this year feels eerily similar to that one. The market is inflated, no one is trading, and the deadline is getting close. If the asking prices don't drop, we could end up with a boring deadline where nothing happens. That said, there's a legitimate argument for standing pat and waiting for the offseason. This offseason is arguably the best the Lakers have had since the 2019 offseason. It might even be better than that year. The difference is that the Lakers could miss out on a few players and still end up with 3 or 4 quality additions. There's so many available wings, guards, and big men that the Lakers could still rebuild their roster even if they don't make a deadline move. You have to remember that the 2019 roster still had guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma, and Rajon Rondo. They had a lot of players already on the roster that could contribute. This offseason is different because the Lakers have a chance to bring in multiple long-term pieces. Players like Tari Eason, Peyton Watson, and even franchise centers like Walker Kessler are on the market. There are versatile 3-and-D wings and guard combos available, like Keon Ellis and others. The Lakers could miss out on 3 or 4 players and still sign 3 or 4 top-tier guys. And beyond that, they have tons of assets and picks to use in trades. They could use those assets to make moves that reshape the roster. For example, they could sign a player like Peyton Watson, then add someone like Keon Ellis, and maybe re-sign Rui Hachimura to a smaller deal. Then they could go after a proven big man like Nick Claxton in a trade. Suddenly, the roster becomes young, athletic, versatile, and deep. It becomes the kind of team that can compete for a championship right now, and that's the vision the Lakers are likely playing into. So yes, there's a case for standing pat. The Lakers could go into the offseason with a strong plan and still come out with a better roster. But I still want to see the Lakers add at least a couple of pieces now. Ideally 2 or 3. There are advantages to that. Even if a player like Keon Ellis is a 1-year rental, he might not leave. The Lakers have a strong brand, and players often want to stay in Los Angeles, especially if they have a chance to play alongside stars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Players usually do not leave the Lakers unless they're forced to by contract situations, like what happened with Malik Monk. Monk was always a 1-year deal, and he left because the Lakers could not pay him. So if the Lakers had a player like Ellis, there's a good chance he stays. And even if he does not, his contract is small enough that it does not prevent the Lakers from making other moves. Cap space matters, and every dollar counts. If you spend $10 million on a player, you reduce your cap space significantly. But if you spend $5 million, you have more flexibility to add another piece. That extra cap space could be the difference between staying under the apron and being able to make additional moves. Now, as we look ahead, one of the biggest questions is whether the Lakers will actually pull the trigger or if they will wait it out and see what the offseason brings. There's a real argument for both sides. On one hand, making a move now could give the team an immediate boost and potentially help them make a deeper playoff run. On the other hand, standing pat could allow the Lakers to preserve their assets, avoid overpaying in a market that is clearly inflated, and then go after the top free agents in the offseason. It's a tough balance, and it's why the next 10 days are so critical. The Lakers have to decide if they want to take the risk of making a move that might not pay off, or if they want to stay patient and trust that the offseason will provide better opportunities. That's the dilemma. The Lakers have always been a team that prefers to be aggressive and chase championships now. But the reality is that sometimes the smartest move is the one that doesn't happen. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of the deadline and feel like you have to do something just for the sake of doing something. But the Lakers have to be careful not to let the pressure of the moment force them into a bad decision. One of the biggest concerns for the Lakers is how much value they can realistically get in return for their assets. The Lakers have some valuable pieces, but they also have limitations. Their cap space, their pick assets, and the fact that they are a championship-contending team all factor into the negotiation. Teams know that the Lakers are in win-now mode, and they're going to try to take advantage of that. That's why the asking prices are so high. Teams are basically trying to hold the Lakers hostage, hoping they will overpay because they feel the urgency of the situation. But the Lakers have to stay disciplined. They have to understand that the market is not normal right now. They have to be willing to walk away from deals that don't make sense. And that's where the difference between good front offices and great front offices shows up. A great front office can say no to a bad deal, even if the pressure is intense. They can keep their composure, stay patient, and wait for the right opportunity. And the Lakers have shown in the past that they can do that. They have also shown that they can make moves when it matters. The question is whether they can strike that balance again this year. Another factor to consider is the chemistry of the team. The Lakers have a roster that has been working together for a while, and adding a new player can always change the dynamic. It can be positive, but it can also be disruptive. The Lakers have to consider how a new piece would fit in with the existing rotation. They have to think about who would be taking minutes away from who, and whether the team's identity would change. This is especially important because the Lakers are currently in a position where they need to be cohesive and consistent to compete at a high level. When you add a new player, you also have to consider how it impacts the team's style of play. The Lakers have a certain way of playing that has been developed over time. Adding a player who doesn't fit that style could cause issues. That's why it's so important that any move the Lakers make is not just about the name or the potential, but about fit. The Lakers need a player who can contribute immediately and who can slide into the rotation without causing major disruptions. That's not always easy to find, especially in a market where teams are asking for too much. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the golden corridors of Crypto.com Arena are buzzing with a rhythmic intensity that hasn't been felt since the height of the Kobe era. While the official channels remain uncharacteristically silent, the whispers echoing through the league's inner circles have reached a deafening pitch. Insiders embedded deep within the Lakers' front office suggest that the unthinkable is finally manifesting. Giannis Antetokounmpo has reportedly given the green light to a move that would fundamentally shift the tectonic plates of the NBA. The narrative surrounding the Greek freak has always been one of loyalty, but sources close to the situation indicate that the allure of the purple and gold, combined with a desire to cement a legacy in the world's biggest spotlight, has led to a definitive yes. This isn't just another speculative trade chip being tossed across a mid-season table. This is described as a seismic alignment of stars. The phrase, "Giannis said yes," has become a mantra of the hour among scouts and agents, suggesting that the personal hurdles and emotional ties to Milwaukee have been cleared in favor of a new, ambitious chapter in Los Angeles. According to those familiar with the high-stakes negotiations, the Lakers are prepared to hammer the gavel today. The front office, led by a brass that knows their window for championship relevance is a fleeting shadow, is expected to finalize the structural components of a deal that would send shockwaves from the Pacific Coast to the Great Lakes. Speculation suggests that the package involved is nothing short of a king's ransom, potentially hollowing out the team's future assets to secure a once-in-a-generation talent who remains in his physical prime. Fans are already beginning to visualize the fast break, the sheer gravity of Giannis occupying the paint while the Lakers' existing superstars space the floor. If these backroom confirmations hold true, the league's balance of power won't just tilt, it will collapse toward Hollywood. As the clock ticks toward an expected announcement, the basketball world holds its collective breath, waiting to see if the most dominant force in the modern game is truly ready to trade his deer antlers for the crown of the Lakers. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.